country's resources, and Connect FM presenter granted bail of 50,000 Ghana cedis. My colleague Parkwesi Simpson, a host of Oman Bapa on Connect 97.1 FM. The BNFT is next. It says EPA to partner Zoom Lion to ensure a clean Ghana, and the 1.3 trillion US dollars global MICE tourism market entices industry players as GT hangs hope on future infrastructure for a slice of the market. And a COVID-19 adjusted economy will fail without strong SME sector, Dr. Edith Dankwa is telling all of us. My guest this morning is Dr. Clement Abasinapak. He is the Member of Parliament for Bosa South and a ranking member on the Education Committee in Parliament. Joining me also is Mr. George Aisi. He is the National Communications Director of the National Disaster Management Organization. Gentlemen, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Good morning. Doc, how are you doing? Salut. Kubasa?
Kubasa. Yosa.
Jam. George, what's it then?
Adam.
Boko. Anyway, so we'll begin the conversation. Of course, the most topical at this point is what's happening in Ketu South, the Keta area. George is here. George, first question to you is, have we been able to take aid to the people since the unfortunate situation hits them on Sunday?
Yeah, thank you, Johnny. Good morning. Good morning to the Honorable Dr. Clement Pak, the ranking member on education.
Deputy ranking.
Sorry, deputy. Thank you for the correction.
So, deputy. Sorry about
that. Yeah. And good morning to our viewers. Let me use your platform to congratulate the Child Rights International and Mr. Bright Abia for winning the Chartered Institute
CIMG,
of Marketing in Ghana,
NGO of the year.
Yes, non-profit organization of the year. They've come a long way. He cares so much about the Ghanaian child and their welfare, and so this is going to encourage him to do more. And he and his team, we say congratulations, Child Rights International and Mr. Bright Appiah, the CEO. Yeah, the Ketu South, the Angloga Enclave, and the Tidal wave. Before I touch on that, Johnny, I want to correct some misrepresentation as was carried out in the House of Parliament yesterday. Okay. That as of the time they were speaking, NADMO had not gone there. I understood the MP why he's saying that. He's taking NADMO as the national headquarters. Okay.
But well, NADMO had gone there.
Yes, but
we had spoken with NADMO.
Yes, from the get-go, NADMO was there. We have the zonal officers, we have the district officers, and then the regional officers. All of them were there before national moved in. Sometimes when the issue happens, you want to see whether it can be handled at the district level. If not, the region is then brought in before headquarters is brought in. And as of yesterday, your question being answered, as of yesterday, we sent some relief items headed by your friend, the Deputy Director General, Technical and Reform, Seji Saji, to the place, Keta, so that it will be redistributed to the other areas. It's an unfortunate situation. This time, I think this is the third one this year.
That's right.
And this is the heaviest, biggest. The impact is serious. And from weather forecasts and predictions, it's likely to go up. If it happens again, it's going to be severer than this one because of the rise in the sea and other things. So it's a worrying situation. But you see, I would want to say that it's not an issue for the people of the Volta region. It's a national issue, especially the protection of our coastal lines.
And what is your plan?
Yeah, I think on Monday, the sector minister, the Minister for Works and Housing, the Honorable Asen Sobwachi, had an encounter with you and told you.
He was speaking from an office when people were being drowned. He was speaking from an air-conditioned office.
District chief executive, regional ministers, and NADMO officers and co were on the ground.
I'm saying that the minister for the sector,
immediately,
who would have gone there as a shadow minister if it were an election year and they were campaigning. He would have gone there, wore Wellington boots, and would have been in the water. was speaking from an air-conditioned office.
Well, that is another matter. But once a
You
team,
politicians
a
do that
team
all the
that
time.
reports to him, were on the ground, I think they will give him the briefing.
Has he
that
been there?
will
Has the
make
minister
him-
been there
I
since Sunday?
cannot answer to that. I don't speak for the ministry. Yeah. So, but once a team is there, my director general sits on his board. Okay, and so my director general definitely will give him a briefing. So that is the angle. And what he touched on is very important, the sea defense issue. I was contemplating which is the best option for Ghana as far as that enclave is concerned, and then the generality of the sea, coastal lines. Do we continue to build sea defense projects for them especially, or we do complete relocation? Okay, but because of the traditional attachment of the people to the area, if you speak to majority 10 of the people from that place, I believe 8 of them will prefer the sea defense. You get it, and you and I will know because of the traditional attachment that is their home, and others. But the relocation issues, as we were discussing earlier, comes at a cost, and then not only to government but also to the indigenes themselves. Right. Okay, so when you weigh these options, they will go for the sea defense. That notwithstanding, I think for now, as the minister said, there's about 8 kilometers or so that is going to be completed immediately to help, ameliorate.
He said that the last
impact.
time, about a month ago, when this happened. You remember?
Yeah. Now, the issue too, I know for a fact that the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Works and Housing is rolling up a lot of projects, sea defense projects that very soon constructions will be underway. And so let's give him the benefit of the doubt that it will be continued. You know that some projects, sea defense project, was started long before. I think under Jerry Rawlings' time,
Right.
in the Kita enclave, President Kufuor came to continue and complete them. But it's not complete. There's a lot to be done. And we need to commit funds and invest in that area. Otherwise, look, Johnny, this is the third one. We are lucky that no fatality has occurred. What would be the fate if it happens again? You get it? At night when they are asleep. You get it? And this one even somewhere at the waist level. Okay, and so it's serious when somebody is asleep and then we begin to record fatalities. Is that the time we're going to be acting? Let's begin to commit resources. As NADMO, we will do the management to support. As I said from the get-go, identifying safe havens and putting people there temporarily.
Where are the safe havens around the area? Where are the safe havens?
We got some schools and community centers and for them.
Is that your standard?
No, for now we don't have evacuation center.
Why not? Why not? I've been talking about it for more than 4 years.
The issue
Why don't you have that?
Evacuation center. For now, we are using temporal structures, as evacuation center. But the normal one, Ghana building a complete evacuation center and then getting tents and to support and we're yet to get into that.
It's not part of your plans.
Yes. Oh, for now.
As a disaster management organization.
Oh, it should be part of our plans, but we need to get.
Has it been put on paper?
I don't have it on paper. Evacuation center, I don't have it on paper. For now, we're using the temporal management and temporal structures, and then school institutions, churches, community centers, as and where it occurs, the incident occurs. Okay, but to say strategically, we are taking honorable MPs enclave, identify a location, build evacuation center for the northern sector and that is not on the table as far as I know.
My final question to you is, you said you have taken aid there. How much aid have you taken there?
Oh, we've taken some there as to whether it will be enough comparing to the numbers. If you permit me,
Right.
So far the total number affected in the Angloga area is about 1,394 people.
Okay.
Yes, and
because
then
your
houses
local
about
reps
134.
said they had gone there to do an assessment.
Yes.
As of Monday, when we carried it live on
That's
TV.
why yesterday, Tuesday,
So if you had gone to do an assessment,
Yes.
then it means that you had done a needs assessment. You know
Yes.
exactly what to take
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
what did you take there?
Yeah, so we've taken some rice, blankets.
How many bags of rice? How many bags of sugar?
We've taken some quantity there.
No, you are not answering my
The
question.
team there will be
You
able
are
to,
not answering my question,
distribute that and then
George,
I cannot give
George,
you
you
the
are not-
exact figures now.
George, I
cannot
will,
give you
I'll
the
go to
exact
Dr.
figures.
Park,
Yes,
but I know
now.
you can connect with your people via
Yes.
WhatsApp and get me the details. I want to know.
No, as to the numbers affected or the quantum.
We know the numbers affected. You
Okay.
just mentioned the numbers.
Yes,
so
yes.
what are you taking to the
So the
numbers
3,000
affected?
expected. You
Exactly.
Know. Yeah, we've sent some items.
Please get the details for
given
me.
to
Thank
them.
you very much, George. Grateful that you could. So I'll come back to you for the second round, and hopefully you could tell me what the details look like. Doc, how does this come to you? The people are in distress one more time, and we look like a talking nation.
Well, Johnny, let me say good morning again to you and my good friend, Mr. Isi.
Look.
To say the least, it is very worrisome. But of course, you know, I can't speak about what is going on in Keta without also saying a good morning to my people in Bulsa South. So, Bulsa my Pusini. And you notice I've been away for some time.
That's right.
There's been a lot of activity in the constituency. We lost 3 of our chiefs in the last couple of years. We had to do the final funeral rites so that the people, through their traditional means, would select new ones. So we've been in that process. I think the first phase of the performance of the funerals, that is over. And now the processes to select new chiefs for us is ongoing. 3 of my communities, you know, our beloved Fumbisi, the district capital, my own village of Dorninga, and then Bachongsa. So we are monitoring and hoping that all the processes go well so that by the end of the year, we would have chiefs for all the communities, and then we can move on. Speaking about the tidal waves, you can see the level of agony, stress, trauma, and anxiety on the faces of the victims of what clearly is a product of nature. And indeed, this issue was topical on the floor of Parliament yesterday because a statement was made on it. And many of the members of Parliament bordering on that coastline had the opportunity to make contributions and, quite honestly, to express disappointment about the delay in reaction by officialdom. In this conversation, it has come out very clearly that it was only yesterday, Tuesday, that relief items got to them.
Right.
Whereas we know that this calamity hit on Sunday.
Saturday into Sunday.
Very well. So should it have taken that long? Should it have taken that long?
The question is, do they have supplies in their warehouses?
That's the point. If we truly have an effective, efficient, and capable National Disaster Management Organization, properly resourced, should it take even a day for relief items to get to people who had lost
There are
anything?
professionals at NADMO. Forget the party boys and
that's
girls.
what I'm asking.
But what is the responsibility of the state towards them in
That
terms
is the
of,
point.
in terms of stocking their
In
warehouses?
fact, during the debate on the basis of the motion, these are some of the points that members made. Resourcing NADMO in both kind and cash, even in terms of the infrastructure and the ability to move swiftly and to deploy. Clearly, the agency has its role to play, but it is the responsibility of government to ensure that adequate resources are assigned. And that is why it is called National Disaster Management, because we cannot anticipate when these disasters are going to hit, be they man-made or a product of nature. So it is quite troubling that it had to take a number of days for NADMO to respond. Now, the number of households affected, I don't know whether he can help us based on the assessment.
Well, I read
Because-
600 in the early days.
Yes.
I don't know if it's some more.
I'm also hearing 3,000.
Yeah, but I mean,
3,000 is the people.
the people, the
Is
number
it,
of
is it the
people.
case?
Yes,
It's
it's
not.
a little
It's
over
not 3,000 households.
No.
You are sure?
Oh, the figures
Well,
are
we
all
need
here.
to cross.
So
I can
George
help
is
you.
getting some details for
Yes,
us from his people on the ground. So you fire away. Then
Yeah, so
we'll
it's
get the
important.
second round.
So
let me
what
have the
we need
households.
urgently is to ensure that provision is made to reduce the suffering of these people who obviously have lost their places of abode. Their personal belongings obviously have been lost. Indeed, some probably have also lost some financial resources. And even in terms of their feeding. So when you have all of this happening, and then George then says that there is no centralized system of dealing with it, they are going to move them into some school structures and what have you. Then you also raise the question of coordination.
Right.
Because we know these things happen. And usually when it happens, you hear government has done this, these quantities of rice. In fact, he's here to tell us the quantity of rice. We are waiting for that. But whatever it is, do the supplies truly even get to the victims? That has always been my worry as well.
Right.
Because there are many examples where we know of disasters striking. NADMO moves in. No matter how long it takes for them to get the requisite relief items, eventually when they do, the outcome is that people who were not supposed to have benefited from those relief items turn out to benefit, when in fact the real victims are still left to their fate. But I see, Johnny, this raises the issue of trust. I say so because in your own submission on this issue, you indicated that the minister previously indicated that action was going to be taken.
Yeah.
And that has not happened. What is the reason?
It's a question of funding.
Well, then the minister and government ought to admit. We have always said that this government has not been sincere in terms of telling us the true state of our economy. Because if we are truly doing as well as they claim and like to tout, why can't we resource important institutions like NADMO? And even the members of parliament, the other level of frustration is that we are yet to receive our share of the common fund. And these are monies that will be available to us to also deal with some issues, even if not at a magnitude that can ameliorate the challenges entirely. Those interventions are usually first and foremost. So that is why members of parliament were exacerbated, because they were helpless. They saw their constituents in agony, in pain, disgruntled, and yet they had no capacity to help. So it still comes back to the issue of resources. So the state is incapable of providing NADMO with adequate resources. The state is incapable of paying statutory earmark funds to members of parliament.
Why is
to go
that?
to the aid of our constituents.
Why is that?
If and when there is the need.
Why is that?
So,
I pay
what
my,
are the resources?
we pay our taxes every month. We collect market tolls every now and then. All the deductions are made, property rate, business operation permit. So why is the state not able to do all these things
Well, those are the
when
questions.
everybody is paying the money that
Those
they have
are
to
the
pay?
questions that we keep asking. And it is not just 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3, 4 quarters of this year, and even the last quarter of last year. And yet we are told that the economy is doing well. We are buoyant. What is happening?
What help?
But you see-
What help can we give the people of Ketu South now?
Well, for now-
there are two things on the table.
For now,
Should we relocate them perpetually, or look at the sea defense wall? Or what do we do?
you see, Johnny, I just wanted to touch base on your earlier very potent comment about the minister addressing this issue from his office. I would have wanted to see the minister there in his Wellington boots and NADMO. You know, be there in the field. Show first-hand empathy, even if you have nothing to offer them. Your presence alone is reassuring. And this is where we need to see the Air Force helicopter in action. Can you imagine the level of accolades the minister would have earned if in the wake of this we saw that he was in the air, hovering around in the helicopter, to get a first-hand assessment of the level of damage. But he chose to do this from his office. And I don't think that inspires confidence. It goes to reinforce the challenge that we have. Armchair leadership. We should be in the field. And that is what we ought to do. But you see, you ask a far-reaching question about a solution. Yes, the sea defense wall option, I think is very viable. And the technology is there. We know parts of this world. I mean, if you go to Holland, the Dutch, practically, they are sitting on water. I mean, if you go to Norway, they have the fjords and all of that. So the technology is there. That we can use technology to protect the people from the ravages of the sea, where they are. But at the same time, if an assessment is done, a stakeholders forum with the people to hear what they have in mind. If the issue of relocation is one that needs to occur, then it has to be organic. It has to be something that the people would want and would want a buy-in for obvious reasons. Many of them trace their identity to that particular physical location. Their identity.
Ancestral home.
That is it. Where they have performed their rituals, buried their departed relatives. So there is that nostalgic, historic, cultural, and traditional aspect of it. Sometimes it's not even just about what they will get if they move away, but this cultural, traditional, historical, and identity connected to that piece of land and that location is a very important draw. And so if the issue of relocation is going to be pondered, it has to be a bottom-up approach where all of these matters would be factored in. Because their economic activities is also tied to the coast. If they are going to be relocated, for example, where are they going to go?
Right.
Would they have access to the sea? Would they be able to continue to, ply a trade that they've been used to? In this case, the issue of fishing. But in all of this, what has been our national policy and approach in dealing with climate change? Besides the rhetoric.
Well, we have spent...
You and I have spoken about this time and again. How the human factor, or as we say in anthropology, the anthropogenic factor is destroying the physical environment. And we are there, state institutions which are supposed to protect the physical environment, sitting by and allowing this to happen. And these are some of the consequences.
We have spent 14.5 billion cedis.
Sand illegal logging of rosewood, illegal logging and destruction of river bodies through Galamsey. All of these affect the weather pattern. I mean, in the northern part where I come from, the weather pattern has changed so drastically that these days it is very difficult for my fathers and mothers, like they are used to previously, to predict when the rains would start and when they would end.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
So it's affecting farming then?
It is affecting farming because if you cannot predict the rainfall pattern, because it has become erratic as a result of climate change, then the time you choose to plant clearly will be influenced.
Okay.
And if you plant for the first month after the first rain, and the second 2 months it doesn't rain, obviously the crops are not going to do well. And these are some of the experiences that we are facing. So the issue of climate change, if we ever thought was something that was so distant from us, or had to do with only the extension of the desert, then we ought to think again.
George, back to you. Do we have details now?
We still don't have figures yet. We'll get you figures later.
Okay.
But
George, how
we
many
have
bags of rice? How many cartons of mackerel? This should be at your fingertip. You are the national PRO.
Yes, I say
Not constituency.
No figures.
Not regional.
Those figures are not in
Johnny,
there. I'll get it for you,
this is a
Johnny.
bit disappointing.
I'll get it for you.
But this time,
Don't
you should
worry.
know
George,
this.
I'll get it for you.
And be able to recite them like a poem.
George, you know that there are two things on my mind.
You know,
It's either
no,
what you
let
said,
me- let
it's
me-
either what you sent there was not enough, or that what you sent there is not worthy of mentioning.
Or maybe nothing has gone. How do we know?
I don't know. I won't add the third option. I'm saying.
No, how do we know? Have you seen any
Don't worry, I will
visuals to that
get, you
effect?
see, I cannot conjecture and give you
That's
figures.
why
You get it?
Dr. Park spoke for about 10 minutes.
Engaged,
So I thought you
I
would have.
engaged the team that before
And
coming
what
here,
did they say?
the
I see you have a
numbers.
list there.
Yes,
what's on the list?
these ones are the figures for, the affected households and individuals and co. And I just got a summary of items sent, no figures attached to it. But I'll get the figures and give you,
I need a bit of
later.
understanding.
But I need to answer
You
certain
answered
things for
some.
you.
I'll give
Yes,
you.
yeah.
I need a bit of understanding. So your guys on the ground told Komla Kluche that they had come there empty-handed to run an assessment to understand what was happening to the people, to know what help to bring to them. That's what they said.
Yeah.
On Monday, after the thing had happened, Saturday, dattling into Sunday and then Monday. Now, we are here on Wednesday morning when relief items were supposed to have gone to them on Tuesday,
Yeah, it went yesterday.
and we don't have details.
Figures.
That's quite worrying.
I'll get the
Because
figures
when
for
you're
you.
packing,
when I
because if you're
requested
packing
for
food,
that,
if you're
yes.
packing food into
Johnny,
a truck
you
from
can
a where.
see I got the brief here.
Okay.
My deputy director general.
I want to place my question. When you're packing,
By, definitely,
by your
definitely.
own
the warehouse
SOP.
warehouse officer will have all the figures.
Exactly.
Yes, that's why
So
I said.
can we get somebody to give us the
No,
warehouse figures?
I spoke to the team that led the people that led the team to the place, and they gave me this. But I'll get the warehouse officer and get you the figures later.
I hear
if
you.
Permit me.
I hear you.
To do
Re-
that.
respond to some
to
of
be
the things,
honest
yes,
with
yeah.
you, my officers on the ground were right. When an incident of this nature happens, a team goes there to make assessment. No, Honorable, to be honest with you, I think this is one of the fastest responses as far as relief items is concerned. Monday, the Sunday afternoon, Monday, Tuesday relief goes. You get it. There should be assessment. The priority is to save lives and properties and all that. Then assessment is done and immediately relief
You have a
items
good
are sent. Yes,
So
yes.
I'll
don't
let
worry.
them pass.
I'm telling you, no.
Allow him, please. Allow him to
Since
have
I
his
joined Admiral, I think this is one of the fastest responses. We talk. You
Yes.
get it. So, in
fact, the last one, it took them more than a
when
week.
I was told I'll be here, and then I said, "What is happening here?" Then I got the team is moving. Then I said, "Thank God." Okay, but another one that I'll get you all the figures.
I hear you.
Now, so when assessment is done and all that, we can do. Government is retooling NADMO. We cannot gloss over that. That in terms of vehicle, pumping machines, dormer machines, and others, these are all tools that we use to do our work, and government is doing a lot in that direction. To say the state is incapable of supporting, I disagree. Once things happen like this, we go in, and if whatever is sent is not enough, additions are taken. And if it's because you don't have enough, once we contact the Interior Ministry, emergency relief support is given so that we can even procure from the local market to support them. We've done that several times in the north, and so these options are also there. Honorable, I disagree with you. We haven't said now that the economy is buoyant. We've said we are recovering from, COVID challenges.
You move on, though.
Yes.
I'm curious to learn. The last time a similar thing happened, we took the first set of supplies and we said that we were going to beef up if need be.
Yeah.
Did we beef up? Because the people said what we brought was not enough. Did we beef up?
With
the first one, yes, Agaveji, Salakope, Amutinu.
I need to check, because sometimes we pass it through the region,
Okay.
to make the follow-up. The initial one, the Director General himself and co went. Now, if it's not enough and they're going to be addition, the regional director is then made to take that. That doesn't go with the
But then they
Congress
give
and
you
co.
monthly reports at the national office. What's the status of that?
I'm not. I've not looked at that month. It goes to the Director General. He reviews.
You
those
answered the economic question, but just a point of interest. The president had told us on the 19th of December 2019, when he met us at the presidency, that forthwith every kind of spend that will be from the state coffers would have to be local rice. Do we know if
Yeah,
the
we do
rice
that.
we
We do
support
that.
we
We do
supply to the people of Ketu South?
Yeah,
is
that's
local
yesterday.
rice?
As of
Yes, as of yesterday.
No,
Is
no,
it local
I
rice?
can't. You know, I was coming to your program. I need to prepare. I
okay.
didn't go into those details and go. So I'll get all those things.
But
for
in
you.
your
we
warehouse, what do you
yes,
stock?
we buy
Local
some
rice?
local rice. We buy other, foreign rice and others. There's a blend of them. There's a blend of them. So that is the issue.
I hear you.
that we
Respond
have
to the
there.
economic question.
Yeah, I've already responded to Honorable that we just went into a recession. We are recovering. The minister said that time without number. I'm talking Minister of Finance on the heels of COVID. That's why Alba Tampa Ghana Cares programs are being rolled out to support. So as of now, it is a building back process time. Okay, so the buoyancy is not what we are talking about. We are trying to, we're being a bit austere and trying to build back so that all other sectors will get what they need to function with. He said the common fund hasn't been there. I know the challenges because
What are the challenges? Tell us.
I know my wife was a member of parliament, and so when the difficulties comes, sometimes
I know.
I know what you go through. Yeah,
So tell us why common fund hasn't been paid.
No, that one, Honorable.
That one too, you are clawing back.
The last one, I agree with you in terms of showing that we care, we are there. The presence of the helis, by heli I mean the helicopters and co, would have been encouraging, showing that government presence is there. We've seen what is going on, and we're going to, even if immediately we can. So I agree with the Honorable Dr. Clement Park that we should have done that, but maybe it's not late. Once grounds people have done assessment and cool, let's get a report, and then when we are going to assure them that we are building the sea defense or relocating them, the minister goes with a team. That will be encouraging, and it should be maybe immediate to encourage the people in there.
Well,
I agree
I
with
think on this issue, there is unanimity that resources ought to be made available to address the suffering of the victims. And that the engagement ought to begin in looking at the best option going forward. If we are going to do the walls, let's do them. If we want to engage them about other options besides the wall, let's do so. But the immediate concern is their well-being, how to house them and provide them with the basic necessities so that they can have a semblance of a normal life, whilst we look at the medium to long-term solutions. But you see, I like IEC for one thing.
What do you like?
Even when he's going to rebut your point, he does it with a smile,
He's a happy man.
so that you don't feel the punch. But if I'm to take him on this issue of the economy and how buoyant it is, and what government officials have said, how well this economy has performed,
you are in the house.
we wouldn't finish this sitting.
Yes. So
And it's so buoyant enough that our president can actually fly in a private jet and pay £14,000 an hour. Not once, not twice. 3 times, I think 4.
So it takes me to the question, George. Maybe I bring you in now. We're talking what's happening in Ketu South. We're talking climate change. We recently saw the our representation at the climate change conference.
COP26.
With all the money that we spent, one would ask, okay, so why spend so much when you need money at home to fix the issues that you are going to talk about? Why do you go to spend when you can actually use the money here instead of having a talk party as
No,
as
you're
it's
talking
been?
of the team that is there, or because the spending that I've had is from about 2015
2015
up
to
to
26,
now.
yes, but-
and they were spent here.
But this particular spend in terms of the travel expenses.
Those are.
I'm sure you've heard people's concerns about them.
It is a drop in the ocean. We need to be at international fora. That's where other policies are ruled out, SDG processes and co. Then you get to appreciate what other countries are doing and where you are you need to put in extra effort to be able to get there so that you bring your people along. International fora is important to challenge, other countries, okay, to see what maybe countries you think are smaller than you doing better, far better than you. Then you begin to. So we need to make some expenses. If we want to go on that tangent, we may say we don't even need a democratic government. You get it? We need a military government to rule, but that is out of the question. You get it? And so I think the conference is important, and also it creates or it engenders engagement across board.
People have raised questions about the numbers.
The number of people who went there. Okay,
337, is that it?
Oh, okay. I don't have that figure, but I know delegation from NADMO went there. Yes,
okay.
Headed by my Director General.
Okay.
So we
that's why he couldn't go to Ketusa.
Yeah, they did exhibition there, on Monday. Yesterday. Night. Yes, that's why the Deputy Director General went. He has deputies, so when he's not there, those other teams are there.
Look,
so that is issues that let's allow. Yeah, people can talk about that, but I think some of these things are I don't need to use that word. The English word penny wise, and I'll leave the rest.
Doc, you have your answer now. Your concerns that were raised by your side about the numbers that went to Glasgow.
No, we don't have the answers. Obviously,
this answer is not satisfactory.
This answer clearly is not satisfactory. And look, let's be honest.
What else are you looking for?
It is outrageous. It's simply unacceptable. Have you seen the list? If the NADMO director goes, I don't have a problem with that. His work clearly borders on the vagaries of the environment or nature, or if you like, as we're talking about, these kinds of disasters. So if the NADMO boss is going, I don't have a problem with that.
What about the Meteo boss?
EPA, I don't have a problem with that. But if you look at the list, there are many, many persons who were at that conference that ought not to be there. And that is the question you ask. We are constrained for resources to address pressing issues. Is that the best way for us to expend public resources? By allowing this number of people to go to a climate change conference? Clearly that cannot be. And this is not the first time. And that is why Ghanaians are appalled. This is not the first time that this is happening.
Okay.
And so we are not satisfied. This is a matter that we are hoping to pursue. I'm sure you've noticed that since our resumption, the minority, we are very active. And that is the new attitude. This is the new posture.
You have been silent on...
We are going to hold government accountable on every and any issue.
Speaking of accountability, the health minister and the botched Sputnik V bipartisan probe.
Yes.
You withheld the vote to go on recess. You're back. You've been back for like a month.
Well,
you say you're holding government accountable.
Yes, but you should know that in spite of the numbers, leadership still has to make decisions. And if you remember, we didn't decide not to vote on that motion. It was the speaker who decided that we shouldn't vote on that night. Our side, we're prepared, we're ready. For anyone who followed and you even saw the numbers, you could see that the numbers on our side were more than the numbers on the other side.
So now you're back.
Yes, it has been on the other paper. And I think that leadership will make room for us to take that vote. But the point I'm making is
Ghanaians are watching.
Well, yeah, we would do it. But you see, Parliament is the Speaker's parliament. So, for example, I have a private member's motion to investigate exam malpractices and all of that. It has been admitted. But it is the Speaker who will decide when that motion will be taken, for example.
Right, okay.
So we will do our part.
I get it.
But at the end of the day, the Speaker ought to make the decision. And you see...
Let's stay in Parliament a bit, Doc. I see your side is also trying to, drag the Attorney General and cast a vote of, what do you call it, a vote of censure on him.
Yes.
Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to lock horns with the executive?
We are not locking horns with the executive. We are asserting our right and our responsibilities as the representatives of the people. The Constitution is here. It's very clear, separation of powers. But it is also clear that Parliament has the capacity to pass the resolution that we did.
That 499 law students
Should be admitted on the basis
execute that?
on the basis of the advertised criteria for the exam and the pass mark.
But it is the General Legal Council's job to determine the you have lectured at the
But
university
the
before.
General Legal Council,
The General Legal Council decide who gets
General
in,
Legal
and they
Council-
say, look, we don't have space to admit them.
they said they don't have space. So why did they let them all write and pass exam? You knew you didn't have space. You allowed them to come and write the criteria that you set as a baseline for one to be able to go and do the professional course. They meet those, and you say you don't have space. You see, the Attorney General ought to know that Parliament is not one of those offices in his ministry. It is the third arm of government, and we have rights, and we are going to exact them. He will have the opportunity to come to Parliament if we get our wish in terms of the motion passing, and then he will have to come and defend his position.
You have hope the Speaker will admit the motion.
Why wouldn't the Speaker admit the motion? We have signed. You need a number of members of Parliament, and we have signed. I signed. On our side alone, we have the numbers to sign for the motion to be admitted.
I hear you.
Johnny, two things.
Take your minute on this one.
I think Honorable he says something. A private member's motion for issues of exams malpractice is a good one. I urge him to push it so that we can get progress in that. Otherwise, it devalues our
certificates.
Yes, certificates and co. And that's good. But two, I
I think they'll do another one for the audit of how much we spent on past questions.
That's
Right?
good.
Yes, those are all
also
very
coming.
important. I urge him to continue as the ranking member on education. He's doing
Deputy
Deputy
ranking member.
Sorry.
The pecking order in
The
Parliament.
last one.
important.
Yes, I know. The last one, the Attorney General and the issue of having a tangle with him. Look, when Parliament makes those recommendations and co, it is up to the executive to execute them, right? And sometimes it's not for nothing that it's there in either the Constitution or their standing orders. That things that come, motions that come with a cost, okay, must be looked at. That's why we don't have many private members,
You are right.
motions and bills there. You get it? Because it is then hinged on the executive to ensure that those motions passed are executed.
Right.
You get it? And so are we ready to do that? So they should have a Giorgio engagement with the Attorney General and the executive so that we make progress.
Is the Attorney General willing to?
This tango
Is the
will
Attorney
not-
General willing to
He's a
engage?
nice guy. He's a nice,
I
and
really
ready
don't
to
think
talk.
The Attorney General can tango with us.
I hear you.
You are trying
We
to tango
are
with
taking
you.
him on, and we are going to demand
But I
that
think it's not
he
necessary.
does what
When
is
two
right.
elephants fight,
Respectfully.
okay? These students, 499,
Respectfully.
when people want to flex muscles, General Legal Council and others, do you know what will happen to them? Okay,
Well-
and I disagree. I agree with them on the issue of the, when you say paper A, one paper, section A, section B, and you tell me if I don't score 50-50, it doesn't, if it's paper 1, paper 2, I will understand.
I hear
The
you.
Same paper, section A, he's a lecturer, he knows this thing.
I hear
It's
you.
not
You're
fair
a
to the
teacher too. It's
students.
not fair to the
It's not
students.
fair to
Well,
the students.
anyway, George
we
AEC
need to
is the
open the
National
system up.
Communications
We need
Director
more
of
lawyers.
the National
We first have
Disaster
to lawyers.
Management
We need more.
Organization. He says he will give us, George says he will give us answers to the quantities of rice, oil, sugar, mattress. I will chase him for that.
We must make sure it goes to the.
If he doesn't
Let
give
say
me,
something. Johnny, let me
quickly.
say something.
Well, our time is up.
It will bring engender argument. Look, education is a right.
Right.
Professional education is a privilege,
is it.
not a right. Professional
You are looking
education
for trouble.
is a privilege, not a right.
You are looking for trouble. Dr. Clement Apak is the Member of Parliament for Bulsa South. He's also the Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee in Parliament. When George gives me the detail, I'll share with you. But I'll cut this tape and put down for when George next comes here. But Michael Edu says disaster management is a high national security issue, yet government sees it as an afterthought. And I believe that this is a result of how the leadership positions the NADMO organization have been. All we see on their social media pages are pictures of NADMO Director General at conferences outside the country. NADMO must sit up, think strategic, and stop the politics. Dear Johnny, I'm completely appalled this morning that George sees The lack of answers as unacceptable. God bless you for your continuous pushback. I just saw this morning. Helga is his name. And Ambassador Sampiali says, Mr. George AEC should have been speaking from Keta this morning. I advise that as you finish this program, you have an emergency meeting at your office and develop a communication plan on this very sensitive issue. Your answers on this program is not very assuring. What is the retooling plan for national disasters? All the technical people who should be at Keta are now in Glasgow. That's what Ambassador says. But thank you very much to Grandpa Clothing for my outfit this morning. 020-985-5696. And happy birthday to Mr. Mensah, aka Nana Kojo, husband of Harriet Mensah, and your beautiful daughter. They wish you a happy birthday. The sports and more, that conversation about the cost of living. We're getting into the market. We have a tomato seller coming in studio, an onion seller, a bread seller. This week we did Kinkenomics. We told you the price of maize, how much Kinke is costing. We're getting into the details, so nobody comes to play blame game. We're taking you to the people who sell them so they can speak. We'll see you after the break.